Now, we're on law enforcement. This question came from the group, from the audience, and it goes to Mr. Hall. It's a question about a controversial police surveillance tool, the Stingray. Now, for anybody in the audience who doesn't know about this, a Stingray is a device that allows law enforcement agencies to track people through their cell phones. Secrecy has surrounded this program because, well, the FBI has imposed what's essentially a gag order on grounds that discussing its operation would compromise its effectiveness. HPD has been using Stingrays. Do you favor that, Mr. Hall? Do you believe there should be transparency? If so, how would you do this if the FBI has a gag order?
Well, fortunately, the FIFA court ruling by the Supreme Court actually resolves this question for us. There is an expectation of privacy as it relates to cell phones, and therefore that resolves the question. People do have a privacy right in their cell phone records and their cell phone use. And I do think that there are some better procedures in place in terms of the FIFA court and how the FIFA orders are being issued. But I do want to get back to a prior question. Stephen Casello, a friend of mine, commented on the lockbox and the drainage fee. Let's be clear that the rain tax was used to pay salaries of over 500 employees, to build bike trails, and also to give bonuses to city employees. When you voted on the drainage fee, you never were told that that's how that money would be utilized. And therefore, the drainage fee should be abandoned and taxpayers told the truth about those funds. There is no lockbox. That's a slush fund for politicians.
All right, the question was about Stingrays. Bill King, 30 seconds.
If Stingrays cannot be used in a transparent fashion, I don't think they ought to be used. I think the light of day is important in these kind of programs. I'm not exactly as clear, Doug, as you. The FBI orders a complete gag order, but if that's the case, then we shouldn't use it.
Very good. Marty McVeigh.
I agree with that. I certainly want to give law enforcement every tool necessary to protect us all. But there's something fundamentally wrong with not knowing who's on the other end of this technology and making sure that it's used appropriately and it's used for law enforcement purposes. So I would agree with the FBI's order.
Sylvester Turner, Stingrays.
I want law enforcement to have the tools that they need, but I am also a big proponent on privacy rights. I think privacy rights are important and need to be protected, especially personal privacy rights. I wasn't a big fan of the red light cameras, and I'm not necessarily a big fan of anything that intrudes on privacy rights.
Chris Bell, Stingrays.
All of us want to get serious about crime fighting here in Houston, but there are limits, as we have seen with what's happened with the NSC. Government can go too far, and this is one of those instances. I think, given what we saw after the tragic bombings in Boston, we have incredible surveillance and technology in this day and age that will suffice, and people don't need to be looking into our cell phones like that.
Stephen Costello.
I also support privacy rights, but I also want to be safe. In my walkings throughout the city, there are a number of our communities that just don't feel safe. There are a number of our communities that just don't trust public safety. And so we need to do a better job of earning the trust of the citizens in the city of Houston. And if it means that we don't use the Stingray device, and that's so be it, that's what we do. But I would like to make sure that we ensure safety throughout our entire community.
Adrian Garcia.
You know, the technology that's available to us, in spite of whatever the FBI gag order may be in place, technology comes under our Chief Judge cabinets. It comes under, and it's used under court orders. It's not just left in the hands for someone to decide whether they want to turn it on today and point it at somebody in this room that is not under a criminal investigation. So it's a delicate issue, but we need to understand that the privacy or the confidentiality of it is being protected for
Thank
purposes
you very much.
of it not being.
Ben Hall, 30 seconds, you have the final word.
On this question, I think there are four of us that are actual lawyers up here on this stage, and I'm going to tell you that this is an issue that I have particularly studied. The FIFO court provides you with the safeguards, the federal safeguards, against whatever the FBI or the local police intend to use. There must be probable cause that a crime is to be committed or has been committed in order for this kind of technology to be utilized. That's sufficient protection.